Thank you guys all for hopping on tonight. Tonight is January, oh my gosh, 18th? 18th? Yeah.
19th.
19th. Oh my gosh. This is what happens when you don't have to go to a corporate job. You lose track of time, I guess. Today is the 19th. Oh yeah, it is Tuesday. Thank you, Jen. Tonight, I am very excited that Jill is going to be talking to us about how she battles depression and how she is still successful. Because I know that's something that a lot of us have, went through, whether it's battling depression or overcoming anxiety or, life whacking us on our asses. We all have these struggles, no matter what they are. And sometimes we let it get the best of us. And I have got to say that, ever since I met Jill, she has been this amazing, inspiring, motivating woman. She lost all this weight by herself. Yes, she did get into another multi-level marketing company, which we're not going to mention, but she did not have support. She did not have the love or the community that she has with us. And I talked to her for a while before she made the decision to join our team, our family, and just talking to her and seeing the things that she struggled with and went through. And then, not even a week after signing up as a coach, she would thank me every day. This is the support I need. This is the family that I've been looking for. This is everything, that's helped me. And she's a success starter. She made Success Club 6 her first month. She's an Emerald coach, not even 2 months of coaching. Yeah. So she's obviously not letting any of the things hold her back that she's battled. But so I'm going to let her take it away in just a moment. But I want to let you guys know that this, if you guys didn't know, this is a brand new year. If you didn't know, then I don't know where you've been. But so you could do new things, try new things. I'm part of an elite training group, and I know some of you got this today. And I took these notes about there's not one right way to be a successful coach. That was my favorite piece that I got today, because I think so many of us think, oh, well, we have to do it like this, or we have to do it like this, or I can't be vulnerable, or I have to be vulnerable, or I have to have this amazing weight loss story, or anything. And so we think that if we don't do it like so-and-so, we're not going to be as good as them, right? But I want you guys to know the great thing about this business is you can do it however you want to do it. You are the CEO. You are the boss. You are head honcho of your own business. But the most important thing is the only way you'll ever be successful is if you have the right mindset to be. And that's why I love the topic of tonight's call, because we all have stuff in life that comes up, and sometimes it holds us back. And now I'm going to let Jill take it away and teach you guys not to be held back by these things. So Jill, how's it going, girlfriend?
Good. Okay, I'm going to share a little bit about my story first off, because not a lot of people know my story. I haven't really shared it. I grew up being very overweight. My heaviest weight was between 250 and 260 pounds. And that was in middle school, and I was bullied all the time. I think that's what caused most of my depression and anxiety. People would talk about me behind my back. I remember a moment in middle school when I had these guys that threw staples at me, and they made fun of me every single day. I hated going to school. I would make excuses to my parents that I didn't want to go. And I grew up in a big Italian family. Food was the essence of everything, and that's what everyone did, ate all the time and whatnot. And in middle school, just my weight got completely out of control. I was eating away my feelings. I didn't have many friends. I had maybe 2 or 3 very close ones. And I was very depressed. I didn't want to be around anyone. I was very closed off from people. When I got into high school, I ended up getting really sick. I have a skin condition, and my dermatologist had put me on a medication for it. And it ended up, I had an allergic reaction from it. I was in my 10th grade, some class, I was in 10th grade, and I ended up going blind. I could not see anything. Luckily, I don't know how I got a hold of my mom, but I did. She took me to the eye doctor, and they immediately took me to the emergency room. They told me if I did not get to the emergency room probably a few hours later, then I would have been completely blind. I ended up being in the hospital for 2 weeks. I lost my peripheral vision in my left side, so I have no vision on that side. I had a drain in my back, and I had 4 or 5 spinal taps because the pressure in my brain had gone bonkers. They told me it was from the medication, but then they had also told me it was because of my weight. And that just put a light bulb in my head that I needed to make a change. And I always knew I needed to, and I just think being made fun of all the time and having the depression and anxiety from being around people making fun of me all the time just kind of held me back a little bit. I ended up losing about 50 pounds in high school on my own. I worked out, ate right and everything. But my weight fluctuated in high school from, all the activities, and I was still made fun of in high school, and it was hard. I mean, I hated being in school. It wasn't for me. Being picked on was a very difficult thing for me. I've never had a lot of friends. I've always been kind of a loner, did my own thing or whatnot. But like some of you do know, I did lose 80 pounds on my own. But my depression has always been very bad. I lost my grandfather, who is a very important part of my life. I lost him when I was in the 3rd grade. He was basically like my other dad. That's, I think, when my depression spiraled. Coming from an Italian family, everyone's very close. He was my everything to me. So when I lost him, I felt completely shut off from the world. I didn't want anything to do with anyone. So it was a very hard time for me. And I think throughout the years, I've always kept that in the back of my head, that losing him made me depressed and sad. I've gone through different things in my life. I think that I've always kept in the back of my head, losing my grandfather was the big depression thing for me. When I decided to become a Beachbody coach, my depression was ridiculous. I've talked to Vicki about this a lot. I had people in my life that were kind of bringing me down. They didn't really support, me living a healthy lifestyle or whatnot. And I wasn't sure if Beachbody was what I wanted to do. I work in healthcare field, as some of you know, and I deal with geriatric patients, and we lose them on a daily basis. And that, it's hard. It's hard going to work every day knowing sometimes you're going to go in and some of the patients have passed away, the night before. It's a job I've always wanted to do, but when I decided to become a Beachbody coach, I didn't know that's what I wanted to do. I had no idea. And I think the past few months since I became a Beachbody coach, I realized that's what I wanted to do. And I kind of wanted to steer from the healthcare field because of the depression it causes me too, from getting attached to the patients and whatnot. When I became a Beachbody coach in October, I think it was a huge step for me because I struggle financially, and that gets me depressed sometimes because I'm 27 years old and, I own my own house, I pay my own bills, I do everything on my own, and finances were very tight. So when I decided to do it, I took a leap of faith. And then it ended up a few weeks later, I'm not sure if most of you know, but I ended up losing my 4-year-old Rottweiler unexpectedly. And I wasn't sure, honestly, if I was going to stick with Beachbody after that, because that was one of the hardest things I've had to deal with from losing her, because it was completely unexpected. She was basically my baby girl. So I remember when I got home and I found her, I had told Vicki, because I was supposed to talk to her that night. I was like, I cannot talk. So I wasn't sure if I was going to stick to it because my depression had got horrible. I was having panic attacks all the time. I didn't want to be in my house because it was hard being in the house knowing she wasn't going to be there when I got home. But I did some soul searching through my personal development, and I realized I wasn't going to let the depression and the anxiety get to me. I know it sounds crazy, but I know the dog wouldn't want me to do that either. She would want me to be happy, you know, and I think it was the best thing. Personal development has changed my life over the past few months. It's opened my eyes to a lot. It's helped my depression a lot too. I mean, struggling with it from a very young age has been very difficult for me, and especially going through different, you know, circumstances I've gone through over the years. But it definitely helps me. I highly suggest doing it, you know, even if you just do it for 30 minutes a day, that's something, you know. It's helped me. And when I decided that I was going to stick with Beachbody, I think it was about 4 weeks later, I hit Emerald. And I was like, this is what I was meant to do. You know, I'm not going to let my depression say I can't do something when I know I can. I just have to, you know, you have to stay determined. You have to do what you were called to do. Don't, you know, let depression get to you. You know, you have to fight it. I mean, I fight it every single day. I wake up every morning and I tell myself, I'm going to do this. I'm going to kick ass. I got this. So it's hard. I mean, I still, you know, deal with it from time to time. I know yesterday was a very rough day with me. I didn't really contact anyone yesterday because it was just bad. And sometimes you don't know where it comes from. Sometimes you do, but like, for instance, yesterday I was just at work and I was just in a horrible mood. I didn't want to be around anyone. So I ended up, my lunch break, I went to the park by my work and I just read personal development, and it put me in a better mood.
Hey, Jill.
Yes.
What are your top 3 personal development books that has helped you when it comes to battling anxiety?
Well, the number one for me that I can think of, The Gifts of Imperfection, helped me a lot because that was the first one that you told me about that I loved. I highly recommend that a lot. I just finished Girl Code that doesn't really tie into it, but I highly suggest that one too. But The Gifts of Imperfection was amazing, and I do like Rising Strong too. So, yeah. So, I mean, I suggest the personal development. I know some people say they don't have time for it sometimes, or it takes out, but even if you do 10 minutes a day or a chapter a day or something like that, I know that would help greatly. I mean,
well, I think it's all about finding that time, or making that time too, because all of us, you know, we all have different lives. We're all very busy and stuff. And like, I guarantee you that 98% of us, when we wake up in the morning, we lay in bed for what, a good 15, 20, 30 minutes before we actually crawl out of bed. Some of us, not Alexis, when you're on a demanding schedule, but some of us do. And in that 10, 20, 15, however minutes you're still laying in bed, you can plug in your headphones and listen to audio, or you can grab your book and turn on a light while you're still snuggled up in bed, all warm and lazy feeling, but you're still getting something from it. It's all about making that time. Or if you like taking baths at night, bring your book in the tub with you, or turn in audio with you, or hot tub.
For me, those are actually the best times I prefer to read, is in a bath, because I'm so damn sore.
Yeah. Yeah.
And side note, I have a 9 to 5 that starts on Monday.
Whoop, whoop.
No more Pizza Hut.
That's awesome. Okay, sorry, Jill.
it's okay. But I will say this, going back to my depression, after my dog had passed away, I ended up going to the doctor to try and talk to someone because my depression had gotten out of control. I was on medication, but I will tell everyone it made me numb. I did not like the way it make me feel. I told my mother about it. And she's someone I can confide in. And I told her, I was like, I do not want to feel numb. I mean, I don't like the way medication makes me feel. I have not been on any medication for 2 weeks. And yes, it has been the best thing. Just talking to people about it. I know I've talked to Crystal because she's one of my coaches, and I've talked to her about stuff I'm going through and everything. And just talking to people who understand what you're going through, or will just sit there and just listen to you vent. I think that helps a lot, and that's always helped me. And you don't have to be on medication for your depression and anxiety. I think it's all a mental thing too. I think you can fight it if you have the right people around you. I mean, some people say the medication works for them. Me personally, it didn't help me. I mean, I don't want to feel numb or, stuff like that. But just having the support of people around you that understand what you're going through, or their day or night, for you to talk to. I know I recently, when I started Beachbody, I had people in my life that were, I think, kind of bringing me down. They were partiers, they wanted to party all the time, and that's just not something I wanted to do anymore. I did that, when I was younger, and I had just moved out, and that's not what I wanted to do. And I think distancing myself from those people and putting people around me that support what I want to do and are there for me and understand me was the best thing to help my depression and anxiety.
Good for you. It takes a weird change of lifestyle, like coming into Beachbody and being surrounded by nothing but empowering and supportive and compassionate people, to realize that some of the people that you have in your life right now are not so good for you. And it stinks when you realize, like, you need to remove toxic relationships out of your life. And sometimes they're really close relationships, like family members and friends. It's really hard. It's not an easy task by any means, but when you do, you immediately feel free. You feel clear, you feel better. And like, the great thing about this company, I mean, I'm not Beachbody in general, but like our family, like, look at all the amazing people that you guys can turn to when you're having a shitty day, when something comes up. Because I know personally, I've talked to many of you guys about this same thing too. It's hard to ask for help. It's hard to vent to somebody. It's hard to come out and talk about certain things because we're afraid of being judged, or we're afraid of not being in control, or we're afraid of not looking strong or feeling strong because we need help from other people. But the thing is, we can't carry the world on our backs by ourselves. And you have to let people in. And by letting people in, you can break through barriers of depression, of anxiety, of, struggling with self-worth and self-love. And that's what's so great about this, is we're all family and we're all there for each other. So when you need a shoulder to cry on, when you need someone to vent to, when you need someone for anything, we're there. And that's what's so great.
Yep. And another thing, going back to my anxiety, I ended up going to Super Saturday in Tampa because I'm from the Tampa Bay area. I went all by myself, and I was so nervous. And I actually got called on stage. So that for my costume, my pirate costume. So that was like a huge thing in fighting my anxiety too. I went out of my comfort zone, which I never would have done, years ago. So that was, a huge step for me, just to go by myself, across the bridge, and we're around no one I know. And that was a huge step in going on that stage and fighting my fears.
That's awesome.
So I think just stepping out of your comfort zone sometimes will help a lot too. And
so I have a question for you. How, when it comes to stepping out of your comfort zone, saying for those who deal with anxiety, what do you think the best ways to go about that before, like, scaring yourself to death where you wouldn't do anything?
For me, I think making a plan. I know that's helped me, like writing stuff down, like what I want to do, and then kind of going from there. I'm kind of a pen and paper kind of girl. I have to write it down and visually see it before I actually do it. I did not want to go by myself. I will tell you that right now, but I did, and I'm really glad I did. I mean, it was the most amazing experience ever. And getting up on that stage kind of, it helped with my fear, of anxiety and everything. So.
And then you pictured yourself being on stage next year speaking about a training or something,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, of course.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I think just for me, at least, just writing it down like a plan you have and just seeing it visually before you actually do it. I know that's helped me a lot.
Awesome. So when it comes to sticking to your everyday, your health and fitness or your business or your relationships or anything, really invest in personal development and actually implement it. No, don't just let it go in one ear and out the other, which I know it has happened with me, at least. And then have supportive friends.
Yes, absolutely. And I know with my depression and anxiety, working out has helped it tremendously. It burns off stress I have in my life, and it just helps me a lot. I mean, I work out first thing in the morning before I go to work. That's the first thing I do in the morning. I do personal development and then I work out. And it just sets a tone for my day.
What would you say to some people that say that they don't have time to work out in the morning?
I have kind of thought about this. I schedule workouts like it's a meeting. Like it's something I have to do. I mean, 30, 40 minutes, that's a scheduled meeting I have to do. It's just something you have to do, just like you have to go to work or you have to go take care of your kids or whatnot. It's just, you have to schedule the time.
Right. And like you said, it sets off your day better. Like for all of you guys who's ever worked out in the morning, it's easier to stick to your nutrition if you work out in the morning, and it's easier to be in a happier mood and be patient and stress less. So yes, I highly recommend that morning workout as well.
So, and then another thing, just, I recommend talking to people, even if it's just one person you trust. Like it could be a family member or a best friend or even, one of us. Like if anyone wants to message me or talk to me about depression or anxiety or anything they're going through, you can text me or message me anytime. And I will answer, as long as I'm not working or whatnot. But, just having someone there that understands what you're going through helps a lot.
Awesome. Thank you. So I know, like we said at the beginning of this, rough patches hit, and whether you're struggling with depression or just being really down on yourself, maybe it's a shitty day. Hi, Bo. Sorry, I get sidetracked with chubby cheeks. Maybe it's a rough day. Maybe it's a rough week. You're having a rough patch. Just remember what it is that's your mission, what it is that you want, what it is that you deserve. Think about the things in your life that you need, like the things in your life that you can't go on without achieving. Does that make sense? Like none of us want to be broke. None of us want to be unhappy. None of us want to be full of stress. None of us want to be unhealthy. There's big things that we want in life. And when you have that fire, when you have that love, when you have that passion, it's going to cushion your shitty days when they come. Your bouts of depression or your moments of anxiety or a bad moment, a bad relationship, a bad phone call, whatever it is. That's why you keep those positive things in your life, like personal development, positive relationships. You keep those visuals. You write that shit down. You write Post-its down. You write your affirmations. You write your I am statements. You make sure that you love yourself and you treat yourself like you love yourself, right? Right. Because without a positive mindset, without that, there's not much that you can do when it comes to being successful. Because you'll half-ass everything. Now, before I stop the recording and take a selfie, hey, does anyone have anything to say to Jill or any questions? Besides a big thank you for sharing everything.
I have something to say.
Okay.
I think Jill's awesome. And the other day, I was messaging her, and I'm like, I'm just so unmotivated today, whatever. And then she like, I don't know, made me feel better. And then I posted something about a 21-day fix challenge pack, and then like so many people commented on it. So thanks, Jill.
Welcome.
Thanks, Jill.
And Chantel says, you are not alone. Thank you for sharing. I don't know if you've seen it in the chat box or not. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. Whoa, there's 2 screens on tonight. Hey.